Later on, I went from being at the Children's Library, reading there, being with the readers group there, and then shifting to the Bliss Institute because the adult library, and I don't know if there was a children's library there. I know that adult library, there was I think the children's library remained at North Front Street at the Turton building. When I got to the Bliss, they had a library association. And I remember joining that library association. They had a library board and they had the library association. And I remember joining the library association. And there were people there. Lawrence Vernon was there. Horace Young was there. Robert Holtz was there. I got in touch with Christelle Strawn, and I don't remember if it was through the Library Association, because, like I said, my memory plays tricks on me sometimes. But there were people I met at the Library Association. In fact, I was at one point the president of the Library Association. I wasn't president for very long, but I did serve as president there. And that was another place where, there are so many memories of the importance of the library and what it did. I remember the Library Association used to sponsor or facilitate programs for librarians to do like academic upgrading for the librarians. Some of them they had workshops during the summer for them, or they'd have workshops during the year for them. Some of them got scholarships and different awards to go abroad to study. And back then, I guess Britain was the main place where people in Belize went away to study because we were, of course, a British colony and our links and our connections were linked with Britain.
Well, Ray, I know at one point the library was moved from Turton, some of the collection, to Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And was Bliss a performing arts center at that time as well?
Bliss definitely a performing arts center at that time. It was totally different from what it is right now. The library and its activities supersedes anything else that happened at the Bliss Institute. Library closes at 8 o'clock, and therefore nothing can happen before 8 o'clock at the Bliss Institute. At 8 p.m., nothing can happen before 8 p.m. The library was upstairs, and the Bliss was where the stage and everything where it is, right, still is. And as I said, you had to be quiet. You couldn't even, there was a caretaker downstairs that anyone who came in even with heels and you clips, clops, he's telling you to be quiet. There are people upstairs reading. So even that, and then you walk up, the stairs were wooden stairs, nicely kept, varnished and everything, and people walking up those stairs. The librarian, Miss Gibson, was on that, her office was on that first level. So whereas if the caretaker downstairs missed you and your clips, clops, heels, once you reach that first level of stairs, and you were clips, clopsing up those stairs, Miss Gibson would step out her office and ask you to please be quiet and to walk on tippity toes. So it was very strict. Over there, you had the, North Front Street, as I said, the Children's Library downstairs at the back. And then upstairs, you had the Technical Library. And the Technical Library was strictly nonfiction books of a technical nature, as opposed to the Bliss Institute Library, which was fiction and nonfiction, and not as extremely technical as the Technical Library was there on North Front Street. And then you had the National Collection, which was also housed there at the Bliss Institute in a separate section that was secured. And there was a library assistant in that room as well, so that you couldn't bring any books out of there without checking with the library assistant in there.
The Bliss Institute was built in the early 50s because the library moved in there in 1954. And that in itself was not designed as a library per se. Um, the upper floor was for a more a reading room than an actual I remember a conference rooms or something like that. But we actually made it into I wouldn't say we because I wasn't there at the time, but the people who thought it should move from the Northfront Street to the Bliss Institute. Maybe they had good reasons for that. And in retrospect, in hindsight, I don't think it was a good move because there was no expansion, there was no room for expansion for the library. And eventually we had to move back most of the things, especially the children's section, back to Northfront Street. And that only remained as an adult library, adult and reference library at the Bliss Institute. It was used quite a lot as a library. Most people knew it as the headquarters of the library service, and at least the students who were using it at the time and who grew up in it. And we did the best we could, and as I say, we had to eventually move some of the children, the things out of the Bliss Institute and take it back to the Northfront Street Library.
I could recall using the library at the Bliss and asking for, I could remember one of the first books I would have read there at the upstairs of the Bliss as a young person would have been a book on the archaeological sites. Like a blue cover book. No, it has a little profile of Alton Han, Shunantunich, and so on.
On the front.
Yeah, well, actually, let me see. I think it had the jade head on the front cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember using Turton Library. I remember using the Leo Bradley Library and being able to access, when I was maybe 18, 19 years old, like the Clarion and billboards and so on.
You know, as you were saying about what people did with their Sunday afternoons, you know, one of the things people used to do for their Sunday afternoons was to go to the Bliss, borrow a book, sit with their children on the seaside and read.
Really? I didn't know that.
That used to be a tradition that was so common. Mm-hmm. I could remember my mother taking us, we all had to get our book, we all had to sit right there on the seashore,
mm-hmm.
and you read and she would read, and it was so much fun. And if you ask people, because the library used to be open on a Sunday then, that was a pastime of Belizeans.
That's something. I wish after COVID it goes away and so on, maybe that's something we could look after, you know, especially
try to bring back.
Yeah, going to the especially marginalized communities and so on, and